and welcome back, everybody, all the subscribers, and everybody who's just curious about TV scripts. This is another one. I haven't done a script in a little bit. I figured I'd do about 3 or 4 in a row here. Get some out of the way. I've got so many, so I want to do them all eventually. Now this is one that was I watched it as a kid. I was about 11 years old when this came on, from December 13th, 77. This is one of the next 3 I'm going to do are sci-fi. This one probably a lot of people haven't heard of, but anybody who grew up in the 70s remember this show, even though it only lasted about a half a year. This is called Quark, starring Richard Benjamin. This is a 2-parter, episode 6 and 7. It's pretty interesting. I don't have a autograph of him from this show, but I've got him from Westworld with Richard Benjamin. He was the captain. Here are the different characters. This episode had Joan Van Ark and Ross Martin. Now, Ross Martin, people might not remember, but he was Artemis on Wild Wild West. West's buddy, his pal, his master of disguise, whatever they called him. Now, this script, as far as I know, has no writing in it. No notations or anything. But, like I said, it's 2 parts, so it is, let's see, 50, 60 odd pages, probably 78 pages, yeah. So, I'll go through this fairly quick. And here's, of course, all the characters. Emperor Ming, this is a takeoff on one of the Buck Rogers villains, Ming, the Merciless, which is played by Ross Martin. He's the brother of the High, I forget his name. Does it say it here? No, it doesn't say. And Joan Van Ark is supposed to be his daughter. So, here we go. And, of course, the opening intro is what you're hearing. This was created by the same guy who did, what was the name of it? Get Smart. I don't recall his name right off the hand, but anyhow. Pretty cool script. Like I said, I was a kid. I was 11 years old when this came on. So, and even at 11, this was a really weird show, even for an 11-year-old. Even though it was sci-fi, it's like I said, it's a takeoff of Buck Rogers and basically Star Trek. So, because the one character named Gene, G and then J, for the 2 names of Gene. Half the time he was a male, half the time he was a female. It was an odd show, odd character. And also, it had 2 twins, was part of the crew members. Ficus, I believe, was, what was his name? He was the main guy, the head honcho of the, because what this thing was a garbage collector, the spaceship. If you see the picture of the ship, it opened up in the front and just like scooped up the big bags of garbage. Crazy show. Oh, Buck Henry, that's who it was, who did Get Smart. But Hans Conried was the like commander of the kind of like Starfleet would be on Star Trek, commander in Starfleet. He also played, I think a year after this, because this show didn't last, so in 78 he played on Mork and Mindy as Mindy's mother, or Mindy's father, rather. But yeah, like I said, even as a kid, this was a silly show, but it's apparently, over the years, it has gained a cult following, even though there's only 8 episodes of the thing. Enough to have a DVD of all 8 episodes come out, which is kind of unusual because a show that's that limited of a run, unless there's a lot of clamor for it, they will not put it on DVD. But apparently there was a big demand for it, so I'm sure when it went on DVD, probably I'd say in the late 80s, maybe the early 90s sometime. Basically when DVDs started becoming popular. Could be even later. I have no idea. I haven't looked to see when it was actually put on DVD. And I imagine they probably put all 8 episodes on one DVD. So the set is not a set. It's probably just a one disc. And that's it. There's Gene again with the J. The guy playing the part. Flips back and forth between the G, Gene with the G, and Gene with the Gene with the J and Gene with the G. And Betty 1 and Betty 2 were the 2 twins. I'll look and see real quick if I can figure out what the 2 twins, what their names were. Oh, let's see. Tricia Barnstable and Sib Barnstable. And up to that time, I'd never seen them before. Now, I'd seen the other twins that were in was it Battlestar Galactica. They were popular at the time. A little bit younger, too. I can't recall their name right offhand. And Libido, that's another one. Oh, maybe I got that wrong. Ficus. I think that was Ficus was no, Richard Kelton was Ficus. Conrad Janis was Otto Bob Palindrome. Drome. I think one of the biggest characters that anybody might remember, and was a big joke at the time, and for many years afterwards, was a character called, what was it called, the Head? The alien Head. Became a joke, at least among the kids. There's Mung, that's the takeoff on Ming, which was the guy from Wild Wild West. And this, of course, like I said, this is 2 parts. It's both parts in one script. It's not 2 separate ones. And I can't remember offhand. I believe this was... I don't know if this was an hour. Okay, it must have been a... Well, it could be an hour. It's 30-something pages per show. So, yeah, it's 30 minutes long. 30 minutes each. So it was an hour total for the 2 parts. Not sure why there's so many pages. I guess because of the writing is so spaced out. It doesn't have a lot of dialogue on each page, so... That's probably one reason why it's like 70-something pages instead of 50-something. Because normally a half-hour show is roughly between 24 and 30 pages each. Dinsmore. There's Gene with the G. That had to have been a interesting part for that guy to play. Here's the 2 Bettys together. That's how you knew they were not the same girl. They were actually twins. I guess it was a heck of a lot easier to find 2 twins to play the parts, instead of trying to go back and forth with the special effects to put them together when they were in a scene together. And definitely no shortage in twins, at least in the Hollywood area. You had plenty for the, was it the bubblegum or gum commercial? Double Mint Twins. Several sets there, and like I said, the other set of blonde twins that I just can't recall their name right offhand. It was on Battlestar. One of them was on Battlestar Galactica. I think it was the youngest one. It's funny because I just seen her. I was just looking through the videos of the ones I did of the autographs, and she's on one of them. I can't for the life of me can't remember the name of her. If I figure it out, or if I look after I do the video, I'll go ahead and put it in the description. What that girl's name, or what those twins' names were. Palindrome. He wasn't in it a lot. Usually at the beginning, sometimes in the middle, and at the end. It was Conrad Janis playing Palindrome. And the Head was the big head honcho of the whole deal. From what I remember. I've had seen this show, and God, I think the early 80s is the last time I've seen the show in reruns. I have not seen it since. They didn't even play it on Sci-Fi, I don't think, in the early 90s. Even back then, Sci-Fi Channel was a little more serious. I could be wrong, but I don't remember ever seeing this on Sci-Fi. It might have been on there before we got it here on cable, because Sci-Fi Channel existed. So, in a lot of other places besides Central Florida, for at least, I don't know, 2-3 years, maybe 4, before we actually got it in like 92, 91, I think it was. Because when I remember watching it when it first came on here, it was all the old shows during the day. Like Lost in Space, Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica, The Invaders. Kind of like the ones that MeTV does right now on Saturday nights. Land of the Giants, that's another one they did. Well, they did all the Irwin Allen ones, that's for sure. And then occasionally they do movies at night. Now they make their own, from what I've seen the last 20 years or more. They've been doing their own stuff with this stupid stuff like the Piranaconda and all that kind of crap. So I haven't watched Sci-Fi in 20 years probably, since they started doing all that and stopped doing all their shows, the regular old shows. Act 2. Fade in. Tagline. Palindrome's office is toward the end. Alright. Page 77 and the end on page 78. And there you have it. One of the not as well known sci-fi shows from the late 70s. Quark, starring Richard Benjamin. Let me know what y'all think. Hope you enjoyed that little trip through memory lane. If those of you who have ever seen it, like I did when it first ran. So y'all take care. Leave a comment, like, subscribe if you haven't, and ring the bell for notifications for this future videos. Later.